This is part 2 of What If Yoriichi and Kokushibo Were in Tanjiro's Era. If you haven't seen part 1, you can watch the full-length video a few hours after this one drops. I'll be combining both parts into one full where we left off. Now we're in the Entertainment District arc. Who's going with Tengen? We're always going to include the Tanjiro trio, Inosuke and Zenitsu. And let's put Yoriichi into the mix. So we've got Yoriichi, Tengen, Zenitsu, and Tanjiro. Now, instead of them dressing up as girls, they instantly know where the demon is. Tengen brings them to the houses, and Yoriichi senses the demon's presence right away. Without hesitation, Yoriichi flies to one of the houses and quickly cuts off Daki's head, and then turns his attention to Gyutaro. Gyutaro, knowing he can't beat Yoriichi, takes Daki and slips into the night, trying to escape. He barely manages to get away. At this point, Gyutaro only cares about surviving and protecting his sister, and the way he gets away is by slicing through buildings and injuring a bunch of civilians, forcing Yoriichi to stop and protect them. Now that the Entertainment District arc is over, they return to the Demon Slayer core. Yoriichi is a bit upset with himself for letting Upper Moon 6 escape, but part of him knows he did the right thing by protecting the civilians. Tengen, on the other hand, is mad at himself for not being fast enough to keep up with Yoriichi or Upper Moon 6. He wishes he was quicker, so he could have helped Yoriichi in the fight. Now, we move on to the Swordsmith Village arc, where we meet Muichiro and Mitsuri. In this timeline, Tanjiro doesn't go to the Swordsmith Village because he never chipped or broke his sword. Instead, Kokushibo goes in his place, not just to help, but because he wants to meet Muichiro, a distant relative of his own bloodline. Kokushibo helps Muichiro train in the village while Muichiro waits for his new sword. They talk about their shared bloodline, and during that time, Kokushibo reflects deeply. He admits he wishes he could go back in time to make things right with his family, to not abandon them just to become stronger than Yoriichi. He now realizes that chasing power out of jealousy was pointless, and that he should have been proud to have a brother like Yoriichi. Upper Moon 4 and Upper Moon 5 arrive at the village. Kokushibo notices them immediately and slices off Upper Moon 4's head before he can do anything. However, Upper Moon 4 splits into his emotion clones like usual. Muichiro never gets blasted away in this timeline, so he stays and fights alongside Kokushibo against the clones. Mitsuri rushes back to the village and takes on Upper Moon 5. She teams up with Genya for the fight, and this one turns out to be a tough battle for both of them. Then we cut back to Kokushibo and Muichiro fighting Upper Moon 4, with Muichiro being one of the strongest Hashira, and Kokushibo being as strong as Gyomei. They managed to finish the fight much faster than in the original timeline. They both come out with some serious wounds, but nothing fatal, and the battle ends way earlier than it originally did. Then, we switch back to Mitsuri and Genya, fighting Upper Moon 5. Mitsuri gets trapped in one of those water prism bubbles, and Genya is doing his best to break her out while holding off Upper Moon 5. Just in time, Kokushibo and Muichiro arrive and team up with them. Together, they manage to defeat Upper Moon 5. Now, after the Swordsmith Village arc and the defeat of most of the Upper Moons, the village doesn't suffer much damage, so they decide to keep it mostly the same. However, they still move operations to a new location just to be safe. The Hashira training arc never happens in this timeline, since they already know about the Demon Slayer mark, the transparent world, and everything else they would have trained for. After the defeat of the two Upper Moon demons in the Swordsmith Village arc, Ubuyashiki puts his plan into motion, teleporting everyone into the Infinity Castle. And just like that, we enter the Infinity Castle arc. Now with Yoriichi, Kokushibo, and an even stronger Tanjiro fully mastered in sun breathing, plus all the extra help, they start wiping out the Infinity Castle. For this timeline, Yoriichi and Kokushibo will face off against a brand new Upper Moon one, created to replace Kokushibo from the original timeline. You guys can name him whatever you want. For now, I'll just call him Upper Moon 1. Yoriichi and Kokushibo make easy work of the new Upper Moon 1. Yoriichi is basically a cheat code in the Demon Slayer universe. He can wipe out almost anyone. The only one who might actually stand a chance against him is Demon King Tanjiro. After their fight with Upper Moon 1, the group gets split up as the castle shifts. Kokushibo ends up facing Doma alongside Shinobu, while Yoriichi goes up against Upper Moon 6. Tanjiro, Gyu, and let's say Gyomei team up to face Upper Moon 3, Akaza. Now let's start with Upper Moon 2, because this is probably the longest fight in the arc. Kokushibo and Shinobu begin fighting Doma, and by this point, Kokushibo already knows about her plan. He can sense it, but he doesn't allow her to sacrifice herself. Kokushibo puts up a serious fight and gives Doma a hard time, but he still isn't powerful enough to finish him off alone. Then suddenly, someone crashes through the wall. It's Sanemi. The Wind Hashira. Now that Sanemi has joined the fight against Doma, Upper Moon 2, their chances increase drastically. Shinobu no longer thinks about her original plan from the main timeline. This time, she believes she can take him down with pure strength and revenge alone. With Kokushibo, Shinobu, and Sanemi all attacking together, Doma is completely overwhelmed. He can't keep up with 3 Hashira at once, and they end up killing him far more easily than in the original timeline. If you guys are wondering where the other Hashira are, like Rengoku and Obanai, they're off fighting lower moon demons, trying to track down any upper moons, but the Infinity Castle won't allow it, since most of the upper moons are already engaged in battle with other demon slayers. And now we shift back to Upper Moon 3, Akaza, facing off against Tanjiro, Giyu, and Gyomei. In this timeline, Giyu doesn't end up seriously injured during the fight with Akaza. With Gyomei by his side, the fight is much more balanced. The final blow still comes from Tanjiro, who enters the selfless state, a state where he completely erases his killing intent, making it impossible for Akaza to sense his attacks. That's how Akaza is finally defeated. Now we move on to the fight between Yoriichi and Upper Moon 6. Upper Moon 6 gets completely demolished by Yoriichi. He's just way too strong for anyone in the verse to handle. The Hashira help Yushiro take control of the Infinity Castle, just like in the original timeline. Now we get Zenitsu versus Kaigaku, and it plays out just like it did in the original series. Now we move on to Muzan. At first, he wasn't paying attention, too focused on trying to dissolve the poison he'd been injected with. Most of the Hashira had already surrounded him by the time he realized Yoriichi was in Tanjiro's era. In a panic, Muzan kills the demon controlling the Infinity Castle, causing all the demon slayers to be transported out. But now they all regroup to face Muzan together. Muzan's shocked, thinking to himself, how is Yoriichi here? I saw you 500 years ago. How are you still alive? Are you a demon? Muzan tries to split into 1,500 pieces like he did before, but this time, it doesn't work. He's weakened by the drugs, and with Yoriichi, Kokushibo, the rest of the Hashira, and Tanjiro all attacking together, they finally destroy Muzan for good. Thanks to Tamayo's drug keeping, Muzan weakened, and preventing him from splitting apart, they're able to defeat him, with no one dying and fewer people needing to awaken the Demon Slayer mark. Since barely any Hashira needed to awaken the Demon Slayer mark, they all survive, leading to way more happy ending. This is personally one of my favorite what-ifs, because it really shows what could have been. Shinobu and Giyu finally get to be together and live a peaceful life, something that felt impossible in the original timeline. It always felt tragic how they never truly got to talk. Then we have Obanai and Mitsuri's love story, which finally plays out fully. They become a happy couple and live the peaceful life they always deserve. Michiro also learns more about his ancestors, and without the burden of the Demon Slayer mark, he's able to live a full life. Since he was the last of his bloodline, this time, it doesn't end with him. His family line continues on, and he finally gets the piece that was stolen from him in the original timeline. What if Nezuko was an Upper Moon demon? Take on this video right here, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe.